What's up guys, it's Chris from CG Stop. I'm going to show you a real quick tutorial, a quick little Windows logo, something just fun to make. So I opened up Photoshop. This is what we got. Got a neat little button logo, which you can use and break apart and put in whatever you want. I chose the Windows. This is really quick, this is really simple. I'm also going to throw some links in there to some stuff that you'll need that I'm not going to go into detail with. So let's break this down. Let's take it apart. So here's what we got. Got your colors, little smoke, little lightning bolts, your button basic, overlay, and of course the Windows logo. Alright, let's start this out. Here we go. I'm just going to use a US paper, 8.5 by 11, resolution 300. Of course, you can choose to do whatever you want. Mine's white. I'm going to make my, I guess we'll start out here. I'll throw a black background on. It's my background layer. I'm going to throw out a new layer. I'm going to draw out a circle. If you hold shift with your circle marquee selected, change your color. I like to use a silver, usually looks about the best. My color code's 8C8C8C. And let's fill that in. Alright, and I'm going to Control D, deselect. So we have a basic circle, pretty simple. And nothing real fancy here. All it is just a layer style down here. Click your FX and your bevel and emboss. I'm going to play with my depth and my size. So right here, we can get our sizes right. A little softening. Actually, maybe size that a little better. Now here's the secret. Nobody likes to mess with these settings, but these settings are pretty cool. If you go in here, you can also get your contours set and gives you a more realistic button shape with your shadows. I personally like this one, so I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to hit OK. So once I got that down, I'm going to need another circle. Let's drag another circle out here. Like I said, hold shift. Don't forget, throw a new layer. And we can use a different color, maybe a darker silver. Alright, let's fill that in. So this layer's over top of the other. Drag that to the center point, and it should snap. If not, just make sure it's aligned. Control T. This is going to change your transform, so you can zoom. If you hold shift and alt, you can make it bigger, and it'll scale from the center point, which you have selected in the center. Enter lets it go, or check it to release it once you've got your transform done. Pretty simple here. I have this set already. Now this is where I'll throw in a link to this pattern, but you're going to throw a pattern overlay. And like I said, I will show a link on where I got this pattern and how to do it. If you know how to do it, you can mess with it, but as you can see, it's pretty simple. It's just a line. And I scale my lines down, like it about, I'd say maybe, let's do 200 and, why 99, why not? Once I got that, I'm going to throw that into a blending mode over top of the button bottom, which is the first circle we made, and go up here to where it says normal and drop that down and change it to something a little darker. My personal preference is multiply. Alright, pretty self-explanatory. You have a basic button. You can throw text or whatever you want in here. I personally use this for my personal logo, the CG logo. Like I said, we're going to make the windows, so I'm going to bring up Internet Explorer or Firefox or whatever you choose to use. I'm just using this because it's already open. I did a Windows logo search on Yahoo and it gives me a ton of options. I'm going to use this one here. It's pretty easy because it's already got a white background. It's a large format file. I'm going to copy and I'm just going to throw this in here. It'll automatically throw it on a new layer. I'm going to grab my magic wand, take out the white, Control D to deselect. And now we have the Windows logo. Once again, Control T for your transform. Let's size that sucker down, align it in the middle. And once we get this thing aligned where I want it, there we go. We can throw this into its own blending mode. Normal, we can scroll it down. All you gotta do is click up here. If you have a scroll wheel on your mouse, that's nice, or your arrow keys, that'll work too. My personal favorite's down at the bottom if you were going to go through all of them. It actually turns it to that silver color without having to select it. It also keeps the highlights in here. So let's take it down, almost there, there we go. Nice, that's actually the luminosity mode. Alright, I'm going to throw out a new layer. I'm going to currently work with everything on top. I'm going to call this one bolts. This is going to be the lightning bolts. I will throw a link into where you can download these brushes. This is actually a brush, so you're going to click on your brush settings. Now, as you can see, I got a shit ton of brushes. It's your choice whether you want to have a bunch of brushes. My personal thing with the brushes is if your computer can handle lots and lots of brushes, then use lots and lots of brushes. I've got a pretty good machine, so I have lots and lots of brushes, and among other things. Anyways, let's grab out some lightning bolts. I've got my lightning bolt selected. I can use my brackets to size, and I'm going to change my color to a light blue, somewhere in this range, I would imagine. Let's see, 5088 little c little d. And I'm going to go over here and bring out my brush menu so I can change my direction of my brush. As you can see, now it's going up, down. Let me size this so we can throw out our first lightning bolts. And you can throw out as many as you want. Just to keep this tutorial short, I'm only going to throw out a few. And I like to do those basic, and you can add another layer, change the colors. You can add as many layers as you want, just to keep things simple. I'm just going to do all these on the same layer. I know people in Photoshop land might not approve, but just for the sake of keeping things simple, that's what I'm doing. So we got our lightning bolts. Awesome. I'm going to drop this menu back. I'm going to take my brushes back so it's easier for me when I need to go back to my brushes later on. Take your bolts layer over here on your layer panel, layer menus. Here we go. Drop bolts. Just click and drag and drop it below. There we go. Very simple. Alright, I'm going to click back up here on layer 3. This is going to be my Windows logo. We're going to add a new layer. That way it goes above this layer. And just so I can get a reference, we have green, red, blue, yellow in that order from right side to left side and then down. So I'm going to drag out my colors. I'm going to grab a green. Make sure my brush is selected, and I want the feathered option brush. Alright, so we had green, red, blue, and yellow. So very easy. I'm just making circles. Red, blue, and yellow. Awesome. Now we got our colors. I'm going to go back up here to my filters options, blur, Gaussian blur. This, since I had it, this is what I used before, was 157.5. You guys just edit it to wherever you feel comfortable. Go OK. Here's the secret. Throw in another layer. On this layer, which should be above your colors, we're going to go to Filter, Render, Clouds, and I just see that. Make sure you set your colors back. Control Z for me is going to undo. Over here, let's reset our colors to black and white and do that again. Filter, Render, Clouds. That's better. Excuse me. Alright, over here, back on your layers panel, if you hold Alt between those two layers, throw that in a mode, blending mode, and bring that down to multiply. That's personal preference. You can go through and find something that looks maybe cooler to you. Alright, so you get your clouds, throw that into a blending mode. Like I said, my personal preference is multiply. If you bring down the opacity, it seems to look the best. Mine's somewhere around 60. I've actually got it at 62 here. It's whatever your eye feels. I like to Control E, that'll merge your layers for you, and then once again drag that layer down and I'd put it underneath the bolts. Seems to look the best to me. That's it, pretty simple. You got something pretty cool. Like I said, I use the 8.5 by 11 default. If you set this to your screen resolution, you can use this as an awesome desktop background. Kind of like what I've done here. That's my logo. And check out the CHCHCHCHECKIT clan stuff. Just search CHCHCHCHECKIT, C-H-C-H, then the word check it. They've got how to do this if you wanted some animation to your desktop. Once again, my CG logo, pretty simple. That's how I did it. This time we just used the Microsoft. Alright guys, thanks for viewing. CGStop.com. Check us out on Facebook.